Okay, we're good, guys?
Yeah.
Is there red on the screen?
Yes, there's
Big
some
red bar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
good.
going. Yeah, little red bars
Little
moving.
red bar's moving.
Alrighty, welcome to another GeekGarden discussion, talking about things video.
What is this? What series is this video for?
I don't know. That's what I was asking earlier. Is it gonna be our podcast? Are we gonna be?
I guess so.
This isn't stay indoors.
It
Yeah,
could be
it's-
stay indoors.
Is it stay indoors?
Well, it's a
Talking about-
discussion video, isn't it?
So it's stay indoors.
So I guess stay indoors. Yeah, it'll just be a shorter stay indoors. I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
Just
like
stay indoors.
who has to say that stay indoors needs to be an hour?
Yeah, nobody. We decide that. We set the rules.
We'll fucking talk and then we'll stop. Then we'll stop. And then you know what? Then they'll know that we're done.
Welcome to Stay Indoors, the Geek Garden discussion / podcast video, where we talk about one specific topic and talk about it too much.
And probably get off topic.
And then get off topic.
And probably
yeah.
get off topic. Today's on topic is For Honor.
Honor 4.
The fourth installment in the Honor franchise. For anybody who doesn't know, For Honor is a new IP from Ubisoft that came out in February.
We're a little late.
We're a little late on the train, but they are constantly updating the game
Yes.
with new characters and stuff. We're getting
We
the
have-
first one in a couple days.
we
for
have
season
our
pass
reasons.
holders. But
It is. Yeah.
got a lot of flack for a lot of different reasons. I guess we'll jump in. The biggest one that caused the most controversy, so to speak.
Oh, I'm Sean.
I'm Kelly.
Brandon.
This is Geek Garden Stay Indoors. You were saying.
I was saying that For Honor is a fighting game, so of course game balance is a really big deal. I was wondering if you guys wanted to speak at all to what your thoughts are on the game balance, just as it is in terms of the different characters interacting, because it's a third-person fighting game, which is kind of innovative. It's not something we've really seen before, especially with the way the mechanic works of the rock, paper, scissors element of guarding and counterattacking and blocking. All the classes play differently and fight differently, have different abilities. What's been your guys' experience as far as
Game balance.
game balance, character versus character?
Well, to start, I played off. I spent most of the game. I played everyone, at least for 20 to 30 minutes every character. But for the majority of my time with the game, I played the Lawbringer.
And what is the Lawbringer?
Well,
what's his weapon of choice?
So he's a heavily armored knight
Big
with
boy.
a pole axe. He's a big boy, and he's got a lot of reach, and that's basically why I liked it. Is you could kind of hang back. Where I wanted to play was kind of more of a middle ground of like, I can hit you, but you can't hit me, so you better be guarding.
Cool.
Which was a lot of fun. But honestly, the game doesn't really play like that. It doesn't really use that distance as much as you'd think it might.
Mm-hmm.
With the exception of maybe the Nobushi and the Lawbringer.
Yeah.
And an extremely short range like the Warlord.
Yeah.
So there are disadvantaged classes. Like, I know the Warden, obviously, 'cause I played the Warden a lot, and a lot of complaints were had by just like the options of that
Yeah,
character.
because the thing is, the game kind of breaks down in terms of like easy, difficult, or like medium characters to play, and that ends up kind of translating once you get to a certain level in the game of like the options you have available.
Mm-hmm.
A Warden is an easy character to play because he doesn't have a lot of options, so you don't have to like memorize a lot of moves and like a lot of sub rules and weird things he can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that means that when you get to a higher sort of skill cap of the players you're fighting against, you're a lot easier to counter, and you don't have a lot of ways to deal with the
Yeah.
enemy.
Yeah.
There's obviously sometimes you get into a fight and you can win, and there's always a little bit of a trade-off of like, this character is just better against this character.
Mm-hmm.
I think my biggest overall complaint has been the Nobushi.
Yeah.
In terms of like, I don't know who I'm playing as. It never seems to have a good way to deal with it. They're too fast and have too much range and do bleed damage.
Yeah. I think we'll definitely have to touch on that specifically later, like with the Nobushi.
The Nobushi
But
and how garbage she is.
yeah, I was gonna say that in
Garbage
like
fire.
in general though, like considering that this is a new IP, and for the most part this is like a pretty brand new concept gameplay wise. That like the balance has actually been like, I found it like okay, and a lot of the time like when it is unbalanced, I almost find it's like you were saying, like the Warlord has like really short range, so like fighting a Nobushi is like bullshit.
Yeah.
Thing, right?
And like,
And so, but it's cool because I feel like that would possibly be the case in like real life.
Yeah.
Right. So like gameplay wise, it doesn't come out as nice, obviously.
very
but like it's kind of
synchronized
if you think of it
to
that way.
real
It's
life.
kind of like, yeah, like the warlord would have a tough time getting towards Nobushi because freaking she has so much more reach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, we'll definitely have to touch. There's other reasons why Nobushi is unfair.
Well,
for sure.
It's just like we have this bleed damage effect that the Nobushi has, and like the other player that has that, I mean, the one I can think of is the Peacekeeper.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
another one. I think does the Valkyrie have bleed?
I don't think so.
No,
I'm not
But-
certain, but
I
regardless.
thought it was just the Nobushi and the Orochi.
Oh, the Orochi also
okay.
has a
So
bleed.
it's a peacekeeper. It's all the assassins.
Yeah, it's the assassins
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
have bleed. And like the thing is about the assassins is like they can't guard forever,
Yeah.
but generally in the game you're switching guards anyway.
Yeah. So
you're
the
not-
counter to that doesn't feel like it balances as well.
Exactly, but like the ability to just grab you as the Peacekeeper and then stab, stab, stab and get like a third of your bar down and then just rinse, repeat kind of feels, well, a little annoying. I mean, you can get good at the guard break cancels.
Well, then
but
we
when-
get into the fact that like Ubisoft has been updating the game, and this is kind of a thing that I find interesting just about sort of the modern era of games in general, and games getting updated, and so like the game you buy isn't necessarily the game you're playing for the next 3 months or whatever.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's really interesting for a couple of reasons. But one of them was I kind of took a break from For Honor because it was like getting frustrating, and there was just
We
a
all
lot of
did.
games coming
We all
out
did,
lately.
yeah.
So like there's just too much to play. And you guys know, like I was really excited for Honor.
You
I was
were
like,
it was insane, and you were like,
On the
was it
hype
for like
train.
a solid week?
It
Yeah, I, like, wasn't
it was-
sleeping.
It was a solid week and a bit. Yeah, Kelly wasn't sleeping.
I
he
wasn't
was just
sleeping. It was
playing
bad.
For Honor.
We like usually you're like the first one to go to bed, and then we were just like, okay, we're gonna go to bed now.
And
You're
he's like,
yeah, one more match.
Yeah.
yeah.
One more. I gotta
You
win.
don't do that.
No,
You
yeah,
don't do
it
that.
wasn't good.
It was an unhealthy thing for all.
But the thing that's interesting is I took that break from playing For Honor for a little while, and I'd gotten kind of good at the guard break cancel, and I came back and the timing on it had been like adjusted or changed or something slightly, so I had to learn to play like a new game. But because of the upgrading in the gear system, which we will get to,
Well,
I was now being paired with people who were like objectively stronger than me and had also been playing more. And I, like, for a while then, trying to get back into the game was nearly impossible.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because you get those updates that change it. And I guess that's just kind of the way it is now with modern games, and maybe, like, in a couple months I'll be like, oh, this just does feel better
Yeah.
than it did at launch.
Yeah.
But it definitely can make it frustrating.
Yeah.
Because you have to unlearn, and it's not the problem that you have to learn a tactic. It's that you have to unlearn your old habit,
Exactly.
and that can get frustrating, especially for a less than hardcore player of the series. Getting
Yeah.
back into a game, it can kind of kill your vibe. But I mean, they don't really care. They have your money.
That's, yeah.
Fair
Which
enough.
I guess then we should lead into talking about the gear system.
Yeah, that's actually a really good sort of segue,
Yeah.
because they don't really have all the money from you that they want yet.
No,
Well, I was gonna say that like all in all, like if we just took this game like as it was at launch and like ignore like the gear system, like the game was like. It was I thought it was,
It was
like pretty
fun.
well done. It was
Yeah,
well done.
it
It
was-
was fun. If you took for granted that like maybe they were trying to make all the characters as realistic as possible, then you kind of go, okay, the Nobushi's bullshit because it's fucking long reach or whatever.
Long
but,
reach
like,
is fast.
But like if we took it from day one and just ignored the gear system, it was good. It was real
Yeah.
good, and we were real happy with it, and we played it for a long time.
Well,
we still play it.
Yeah, exactly. I want to just like make it sort of clear that one of the reasons that we're doing this video and one of the
Yeah.
reasons that we talk about it so much is because we do really like For Honor. And
Yeah.
we like what the base game has to offer, and it's frustrating to see it get kind of marred
Yeah.
by all of these issues.
Yeah, but now it's been 3 months.
It's been 3
and
months.
Also, the gear system.
Also, the gear system.
Those are the new two additions
Yeah.
where you're kind of like, okay, this
Yeah.
game should feel different now.
It should.
But the gear system.
So the
let's
gear
talk about
system, just as a quick overview of the gear system, essentially every character has, and it's fun for customization. There's a cosmetic element.
It's
but
pretty
the problem is
typical,
there's also a gameplay element. So it's a fighting game, but every character has their weapons and then their armor, and as you level up, you get into sort of a new tier, a new bracket of getting better gear, and that gear actually gives bonuses and negatives, buffs and debuffs to particular stats. It's a trade-off. Every item will boost one thing while weakening a couple others to a lesser extent.
There's a lot of them too.
And there's a lot of
for
stats.
every type of gear, there's 3 stats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane.
The cool part is it gives you a variety of play styles. If you really like the revenge mode mechanic, you can really boost that mechanic. But the problem with that is it does create an imbalance. Some people get revenge mode way faster than other players, and especially if you're a first level player and your gear's all neutral, you don't get your revenge mode by the time the other players got
And
it.
revenge mode in the game balance when you're playing it, it's an example of how the game breaks itself. Because like revenge mode is a really good one to talk about, because revenge mode is kind of in the game designed to help you out of those 2v1 scenarios.
Yeah.
When you get surrounded and you get this like bonus to your attack and you have unlimited stamina and you have a little bit of extra defense, so when you're getting sort of picked on and teamed up on, you have an opportunity to fight back. And if you're a good player at like early levels of the game, you can use revenge mode and win. Like I was winning like 3v1s occasionally because the players weren't fighting smart against me, and I get revenge mode and then I could just hammer at them and I'd win a 3v1. But then later on you get scenarios where people can jack up their revenge mode gain and they can get it off a 1v1 and you keep getting them to almost dead and then they get revenge mode. You get them to almost dead and they get revenge mode. And then they only have to hit you a couple times
and you're toast.
And you're dead, even though you've
and you didn't get revenge mode.
Objectively been playing better than them.
But does it not like feel great when like you kick the shit out of somebody who has like max gear and like really high prestige and you're like, ha, you're so shitty.
You ain't good.
You ain't good.
You just
have
spent a
all
lot
that
of money
gear and you ain't good.
because there's a microtransaction element.
This is what we were ramping up to.
This is what we were getting to.
Oh fuck.
One other note I was going to say is that like the 2 places that I noticed the most of the gear is revenge mode 100% and throw distance. Like some people, especially people who play the Raider, which I'm totally guilty of because like I play as Raider.
You've got that tool in your toolbox and the game gives it to you, like use it to win fights. Like I get it.
I use the Raider, and like even though my prestige isn't super high, even though he's my highest character, like I boost the throw stat, and so like with the Raider, like you grab people and then run, and if you have your throw thing high, you just run really far with the person. It's awesome.
You can throw them off cliffs or into spike walls.
People hate it, but I love it.
It can be fun. Like environmental kills, we'll touch on that later.
You know what's not fun? Yeah, that's kind of what you want to go into.
I want to talk about it.
What's not fun is microtransactions, because
am I the only one who spent money on the game, by the way?
Well, I mean, I got the gold edition, the like ultimate edition, so
well,
like, I
fine,
spent money ahead of time. But you're the only one who's actually bought microtransactions.
Cool.
Which was just like a starter kit, the deluxe edition.
Yeah, like I was kind of hoping for more, but like whatever, more the fool I was just overhyped for this game. I know that.
That's fair. But it's a new IP, and you were stoked about it, and like you should be stoked about it.
And I wanted to like,
and they sold it to you.
Them
so,
and like,
yeah, exactly.
You know, I wanted to be like, hey, this is cool, and I'd like to see a sequel, and like, let's just make this a franchise.
And of course, it's a big company like Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Anyways,
the game has an in-game currency system called Steel, which you use for everything.
Yeah.
You use it to upgrade your pieces of gear. You use it to like unlock new heroes for customization. You can play heroes without unlocking them, but in order to like upgrade their gear and like customize them, you need to buy them with the Steel.
Which is like for every base game hero, it's 500.
Apparently, it's going to be more expensive for the new characters, which
is dumb.
Yeah.
It's like because to basically you get them for free, and then to unlock
but to
them,
actually use them and make use of them,
it takes either we played the game like nonstop for like 2 weeks, and I only have 15,000 steel.
Yeah, like what do you think the total amount of steel that like maybe like you've acquired? Like what do you think the like total?
The total?
Probably like for me it's like 20,000 around there.
Mine's probably close to 30,000, I think.
Yeah, mine's probably like 45 roughly.
Yeah.
But like
because I've
been
bought
spending it on stuff.
Because maybe more like 20,000. Because I've bought something that's 15,000, like without buying steel, and then I have like another 7,000 or whatever.
Yeah, I'm at 15 right now, and I've bought a lot of things. I bought some emotes and whatever. But
and how much are the new characters supposed to, like?
They're 15,000.
They're 15,000.
Yeah,
which is like $16.
Yeah, and that's the issue is you can buy steel for like actual money in the game. And so it's the classic thing where they say, well, you can get everything for free if you grind, but you can also just pay to kind of skip that. But the problem is that the gear affects gameplay.
Yeah.
So there actually is a bit of a pay-to-win element. It's sort of in random drops, so you kind of have the Overwatch scenario, but it actually affects gameplay, so you're paying these things, getting these random drops of items, which then affect gameplay, and it's also the same thing you use for any of the emotes and wherever. There's no just like, oh, I leveled up and I get an emote, or whatever, right?
Where Overwatch does. You know, like everything in Overwatch, if you play enough, you can obtain it, right? Which is, I think, kind of like, it's just a fun bragging rights thing that Overwatch lets you do. If you want more chances to brag, like, buy loot boxes, sure, go ahead.
That's a whole other system, though.
But that's a whole other system. But I think that's the way to do microtransactions properly. If, like, just have them there for people who want to buy them, but don't make them necessary to your mechanics
and
in game.
Don't make them affect gameplay at all, like in any way whatsoever. But the thing is, that's also really frustrating in terms of getting these new characters and having these microtransactions and the gear system and whatever, is that one of the things that I always enjoy in like a fighting game, for example, is you got all these characters that you can play, and you can kind of, you're like I love playing the Warden because I love a guy with a sword and a knight, and like that's my jam. Like the game, they announced the game and I was like, there's a dude with a long sword, I don't care about anything else. That's cool. Even still, sometimes I'm like, I'd like to try this out. But because of the way the upgrading system works, I have to play enough to level up to be like eligible for that better gear. That also affects my matchmaking. And my lower level characters don't have that better gear. So sometimes I say like, I want to.
We're back. We made it. Technical difficulties are over.
So I was talking sorry for that.
Debuffs. They are a thing, and it basically, you get 2 buffs to 1 stat when you get to legendary gear, I think it's called. When you get 2 buffs to 1 and then 1 debuff to others, so it really is 2 steps back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, which is ridiculous, and it's an unfair advantage to actually have. So it discourages you playing other characters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I'm surprised that like I don't know how well it would work, but I don't understand why they don't just do matchmaking for the character prestige. But I guess you can't pick the character. Yeah.
Well, the way it's set right now is you pick your character after you've already got into a game, right?
Which makes sense because like if you play with a group of guys, you can like see who they. Can you see who they pick?
You can see who they pick. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why you can't just pick and then queue up.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. Then, like, if that's the case, like, if that was the case, you could just like, all right, I'm gonna start matchmaking. I'm gonna play as the warlord.
Well, I think the idea behind it is that you sort of go for team game balance, right? You see, like, I've already got 2 wardens on the team, so I'm gonna play as
which is fair because
a Nobushi or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
There are characters that like take care of the little scrubs easier than others. And
like you want a Vanguard on the team.
Yeah,
you want somebody. So if everybody queues as assassins.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing Dominion, for example, you're like, okay.
But then that could also be part of the matchmaking. Like you matchmake not only with the prestige balance, but also with like different classes.
Yeah, but this game has enough issues getting you into a game if they limited it that much. Like
I just feel there are some issues that would be resolved that they were able to matchmake that way. Just especially with the gear balance and the prestige unbalancing with characters. Because I don't know, it's tough. It definitely is. Now thinking about it, like. As much as I still think there's some things Ubisoft could have done, it's tough. It's definitely a difficult thing to try.
If we didn't have that gear system, it wouldn't be as much. If you didn't get objectively better with a character, like not just your skill, like I'm a good warden, like I'm a decent warden because I play the warden.
Yeah.
But I also will beat anybody who's of a lower tier almost all the time.
Yeah.
Just because I can stack up my damage so much that I only have to hit you a few times.
Yeah.
Right. And in the case of, like, you were talking about how it throws off the balance because of that level, it's also, like, say you're playing a Peacekeeper and you have stealth, so nobody can find you on the map, you just have to jack up, like, damage and sprint speed. You run in, you hit somebody a couple times before they even know you're there, you piece out of there.
Yeah.
Then you just do it again. You use, like, these hit-and-run tactics, which is fine with a Peacekeeper because they're good at that, but when you're also able to jack up your damage, and then the other person can't hit you back...
Yeah.
Yep.
if you can only hit them a couple times and maybe you can't run that much faster, so if they're clever they can like outmaneuver you.
Yeah.
But when you can have those huge clear advantages, like, oh no, I will die faster as a peacekeeper, your objective is not to get hit ever anyway, right? So like, taking that hit is fine, because if you're playing a peacekeeper properly, you shouldn't be getting hit that often regardless.
Yeah. No, it's true.
And that the same thing can hold for a lot of different classes. Like if you're playing somebody with a shield like a warlord or a conqueror, and you just boost up your ability to like take damage and like your block damage resistance and stuff, you just stand there forever. Like you see those videos of guys playing conquerors who fight off the whole team multiple times, and they don't necessarily kill anybody, but they just wait for their teammates to show up and pick them off. Yeah, because they can just stand there forever.
Yeah, in my overall experience with the game, I have to admit that the only two things that definitely have stuck out with the imbalance is the revenge mode and the throw. I find a lot of the times where someone does you can clearly see that someone has like a lot of attack damage, or like they have like more sprint speed or something like that. All those times like you can counterbalance that by like playing differently. Like I can just like, okay, I gotta really watch like my blocking with this guy because his attack is insane. And I find that like some of that falls into gameplay regardless, because like some of the classes in general hit harder than other classes, so like you do that anyways, like the Shigoki obviously.
But
like,
that speaks to another issue with it, right? Is a fighting game builds its balance at the most basic level as a trade-off between like speed and damage is like the most basic thing, right? Like, you generally have like, this guy's faster but every individual hit hits for less damage, where like, this guy's slower but if he connects he's going to do a lot of damage. The gear system takes that basic balance concept and throws it out the window, because like the peacekeeper can do more damage than the lawbringer. And then the lawbringer also can't hit as fast, and then he's just like objectively worse. He's just an objectively worse character.
So I think like once we disregard the gear system, it's now also a shame that they haven't updated some stuff,
and also a shame that it uses peer-to-peer hosting. Because when you've got that rock paper scissors mechanic, and you've got like some characters, like for example the Nobushi, are quicker and it's already a little more difficult to block them at the right time. When you also have the fact that maybe that Nobushi is the host, and they have just that couple milliseconds of not having that lag, that couple milliseconds of you're like objectively slower and are getting the information after they are, it can become impossible. Like literally physically impossible,
and just frustrating,
because you're sitting there and you're like, I know, because I've been in this scenario, like I've gone on a fight where I haven't blocked a single hit because I'm just that second too slow on every single one, and it's because I'm getting the information. They're already in the middle of the attack by the time I'm being told that they're attacking me. So I can't react fast enough.
I luckily haven't really run into that too much, but
it's been getting worse.
I've definitely seen it happen.
Yeah, it happens a fair bit. I also think it depends on who you're fighting and who you're playing as in terms of your speed. If you're playing as somebody like a warden who I play as versus somebody like a Nobushi, I'm not like necessarily the fastest character, and they are. And then I go to block them and I'm already too late, and then I just get caught in this trap.
The amount of times where like someone in the opposing team will be playing as Nobushi, you can clearly tell that we hate the Nobushi. We've been ragging on her a lot. There's a couple other characters that have been balanced too, like the Orochi and stuff, but the Nobushi is balanced not balanced the longest, and I don't know. Anyways, what I was gonna say is that the amount of times that we've been playing and someone in the opposing team is playing as Nobushi, and like I'll like make it my goal to beat them, like I go after them. I'm just like, no, I'm gonna, and I won't be playing it. I'll be playing as like the Raider or the Kensei or something like that, right? And I'm just like, I'm gonna beat the Nobushi. And the amount of times where like it's not until like the 6th or 7th time that I fight them that I beat them. And like I don't play any worse or better. Like it's just like I fuck Nobushi. Like that's just how
basically
I feel.
hashtag fuck the Nobushi.
I've played against the Nobushi quite a bit. I don't think I've run into as much of a problem as like you guys have.
I think it's also characters, right?
Yeah, like the Lawbringer generally is fine against the Nobushi. Like she's quicker, but like you've got a lot more defensive options as the Lawbringer. Like you can block, you can shove out of a block, you can parry into a top light, side heavy, top heavy.
And you do have those options like, as far as the reach
And then you have
counter
reach,
that
right?
a little bit more. You're one of the characters who potentially can trade blows with an Ibushi.
I think we've all kind of learned how to play against her, but it's just that, like, the fact that we have to put so much effort into knowing how to play against an Ibushi as opposed to like any other class is just like insane, right? Because I feel like Nobushi more than any other class is like really designed to just like mess with you. Like, it's just like all of her like deeks and like weird like moving her positions and like everything, like it's just insane compared to any other
silent
character.
stance.
And then on top of that, it's just she's the one who does so much bleed damage. And so, like, you get hit like 2 or 3 times, and then you bleed out.
Yeah, and because she can hit you from so far, she just like pokes you a couple times, and then like runs away and stays out of your range. And there's no way for you to close the gap, because if you try to close the gap, she either pokes you or runs away again. And you're like, I can't.
Like, every time I fight her, I'm either playing as the Raider, and I just like go like crazy heavy hits, or I like charge her. Or with the Kensei, I'm just like constantly doing like the dodge swipe thing and like just keeping my distance. Cause I'm like, if I get any closer to you, you're gonna mess me up.
Yep.
Sucks.
Yeah.
You guys seem to have a tough time with the Orochi, and I've never really found like the Orochi's super quick, but I've never had a huge.
The Orochi doesn't bother me too much.
Orochi doesn't bug me as much. I just hate how frequently I see Orochis.
Yeah.
And how like, and I find that like people who play Orochis in general are like pretty good. Like, I don't know, like because they're quicker, it's like easier to be better with them.
Yeah.
So like I'll play against someone who's like a mediocre player against an Orochi, and they just like kick my ass, and I'm like, okay.
Well, the Orochi's all about their speed, right?
Yeah,
so they're just so fast, and again, when you have that gear balance.
And I've found because of the speed, the Orochi is one of those ones that I find the peer-to-peer screws me up on sometimes, because I'm like, I really rely on my parries and my counters with an Orochi.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm going to let you try to hit me, I'm going to deflect you and then hit you back, because if I try to like just hit you first, you can always win that exchange.
Yeah, because they've got an unblockable parry.
Yeah.
That like is also fucking annoying because I just can never telegraph it. Like it always is happening, and I'm like, fuck, I got stabbed.
Yeah. But when I've had those situations where I get into that peer-to-peer issue of like the Orochi being the host, and I just know, I'm like, okay, I know what you're gonna do, I know the move you're going for, and then I just wait for that moment of when they go into attack and I go to the parry and they still hit me, and then it just keeps happening consistently with that same Orochi, and it's frustrating because I know that if they had dedicated servers and everybody was about a bit more of an even playing field with the lag times and stuff, that wouldn't be as much of an issue. And it just gets frustrating when the game has a really cool rock paper scissors mechanic. There's actually a decent level of skill involved with reading your opponent and eking them out and stuff.
I think this game involves a lot of skill.
Yeah, you have to learn to get good at this game.
Yeah,
but it's also like, but not even that. Like I'm gonna use Overwatch again as an example, but like with Overwatch, you like learn how the game works and you learn how all the characters work, and like you might be a little rusty, but you can go back into the game and like be like, okay, yeah, I remember how like this person's abilities work and like play well. But with this, you have to warm up.
Yeah,
you have to warm up to play For Honor. I think that's really cool, because I don't think there's a lot of games that are like that. I think some first-person shooters are like that. There's a lot of dexterity involved in that, but
instances in Overwatch where like you get into like the top players and then it's called sweating. They'll go into quick play and get their warm-up games going before they go into comp.
Yeah,
I mean, like it's almost every video game. I find that I just think that
it's very prevalent.
It's very prevalent. I'm not discounting what you guys are saying. I'm just saying that like you can find it in almost any game.
I just feel like I've noticed it for someone like me and even you guys that like we're gamers, but for the most part we're still casual gamers and we're not playing like all the time.
And we're not like professional or like anything.
A lot of other games I can go into and like I expect like the first match or two to be like, okay, like I'm warmed up, right? But like with this game, it's like, okay, let me play this a little while, or like, and maybe I'll be better tomorrow.
Yeah, because like so much of this game is about the moment to moment decision of like, do I parry, block, or dodge?
Attack,
and then and then when I'm on the offense, do I light, heavy, cancel? Feint,
like am I feinting?
Like dodge, attack. Like there's so many options, and all those things are super cool.
And then if you play as different characters, all of them do it at slightly different speeds and
in different ways. You got the assassins who can't block forever, but have like the ability to parry. The parry where they like dash into your attack and then like slide off your weapon and then get a counter.
Deflect.
Sorry, yes, the parry is the actual counter of the attack. Yeah. But Yeah, like the deflect, and like so you've got different defensive options even based on who you're playing as. I think that stuff's really, really cool.
It's all super cool. Like, I really love this game, and I really do think that it could be something great. But like, a lot of its gear system feels to me last minute. A lot of its microtransactions. Exactly, a lot of its microtransactions feel like they were introduced in the last like phase of its development to make this game, more profitable. So that they could then make a second one, right? Because they've got to keep up with these other online features.
The thing that I think is interesting, though, is that when you have two games in particular come to mind when we talk about like the last-minute additions and the making it more profitable and adding the microtransactions and whatever. One of them was Evolve.
Yeah.
And one of them was the newest Deus Ex. I can't remember if it's Human Revolution or Mankind Divided. I can't remember if
it's Mankind Divided.
Okay, Mankind Divided. First, I'll speak to Evolve because Evolve was, I think, actually in a fairly similar position as For Honor, where it was a first-person shooter, but it was a fairly innovative new IP. It didn't play like other games that you've played. It had a lot of really cool ideas.
So
we all really liked playing Evolve. Like, it was a fun game.
Yeah.
But it had a lot of like pre-order bonuses, and like if you want these characters and like these costume packs or whatever, you got to buy and spend more money. And like the whole draw for the game was monsters, and it had 3 in the game, and then you could buy more.
Who developed Evolve?
Turtle Rock. And like 2K. It was the guys who did Left 4 Dead.
2K.
Yeah. I think Turtle Rock might have been the publisher.
Ubisoft can as much as we hate them, like give flack for it, like they can still do that with a game and survive. Mm-hmm. But like when you're not as a big of a company and you're dealing with the new IP, like I feel like it hurts yourself by like doing that kind of stuff. And it's like, oh, like I'm like there's all this extra content and like I don't even know if I'm gonna like the game.
Yeah, like you alienate your player base before you even get a player base.
Yeah.
And even me, like I was one of the staunchest defenders of this game, and I'm sitting here like ripping into it because you have to.
Well, yeah, I mean it's just. The
gotta be critical of things you love.
Yeah, exactly. But like, so like Evolve died. Like it died because nobody wanted to get in on that.
It's free on PC now.
Yeah, but even so, they were building a new. Just like a side note, they were building a new version, like Evolve Phase 2, which was supposed to be the free to play version, and they've now said they're like canceling support of that too. Like it's just.
Oh really?
Evolve is just dead and buried, which is so tragic to me. Because I loved Evolve, and if we'd gotten a sequel, they could have gotten away with some of its issues, and just it was franchise material in my opinion.
We ended up spending. Did any of us spend money on that game? I think
no, none of us did.
And I would have.
I thought one of us bought.
I would have if it was
some
cheaper.
more monsters.
I was going to buy the Gorgon, but I was like, I'm gonna wait and see if we're still playing it for a little while. And
I swear, one of us bought the Gorgon.
We stopped playing it just because like. I didn't think we could. We couldn't consistently find 5 people to play with, and none of us wanted to go online and be rando.
And the servers were sketchy, if I remember correctly. Like we kept dropping. We were trying to play with
that's what
our
was
friends,
happening.
And we kept like dropping.
Kind of like For Honor.
Yeah.
But the other issue was the newest Deus Ex game, which I haven't played, but the online component is apparently very similar. It has a lot of these like. Microtransactions that like were very much. I think the developers have come out and said like these were last minute additions that Square made us put in to make it monetizable online. And the thing that blows my mind is it gets like negative press every time, and especially from Evolve, where it was like a very similar situation. It was a new IP, and that game very recently like publicly imploded on itself. I'm very surprised to see them still like they can get away with it, but like why do that? Like have a smarter system. You're
not going to compete with an MMO in terms of your playability. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You're not going to get that many people. You're not going to get the people sinking the money in, and people sink money into something like WoW because the stuff they get, they feel like is worth it. They get the updates. They get whatever they want to like build out their character. Right?
Yeah.
You don't have that connection to something like this.
Right? Like. I don't get to buy my specific piece of armor because if I could, I would. Mm-hmm. Because there are several helmets that I want to buy for fucking Lawbringer, but I have to buy packs. And I'm not stupid enough as a consumer to go through an RNG thing just to get a certain helmet I like with stats I like.
Yeah, we're not stupid enough.
You know what I mean?
Loot boxes.
But I was saying because I paid for the pack.
Like, for every event in Overwatch, I maybe spend an extra $5 on loot boxes. Yeah. Just as a last ditch effort. But like,
also, Overwatch is something that, like...
At least it's honest with its...
It's honest with itself, but, like, beyond that, we know that we're going to keep playing it.
Yeah.
It's got its dedicated servers, it's got whatever. We know that, like, if I spend this money, I'm going to, like, get to enjoy this costume for a while.
It's also strictly aesthetic. Like,
And it doesn't affect the gameplay.
And like, if I
Yeah.
don't get it, it's not the end of the world. I'm not gonna be like, I'm never gonna play this game again. It's like, oh fuck, I missed
I
out
feel
on
like-
that skin.
Like,
I missed out
For
on the
Honor has
bragging.
a campaign which I actually quite enjoy. I think it does like a cool job. I think it could have been better. Obviously, it's like a fighting game campaign, but it sets up a cool world and it's like fun. It's got some cool set piece
Yeah.
moments. But I think that if there was going to be like a gear system that affects your stats, have that in the campaign, almost like like RPG elements.
yeah.
And then just have cosmetics in the online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, make the campaign more of a thing.
Can I just imagine how, like, the campaign, like, it seemed like it was gonna be, like, really cool, and then it just kind of, like, ended up being, like, a glorified tutorial?
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. Like, the knights had this whole, like, thing going on, and you're like, okay, like, where's this going? Okay, alright.
kinda,
And
yeah,
then it just, like, jumps
up.
to the Vikings and to the samurai, and it's kind of like, no, they're just fighting each other.
Yep.
You're like, okay.
Sure,
Yeah.
I guess.
It's like, yeah, I thought that whole Blackstone Legion thing was gonna go somewhere,
Yeah.
but it kind of like
Disappointing.
she just shows up.
I believe you wanted to speak to the arena design
Yeah.
environments.
So I love
Environments.
environmental things. So I love, just as a note, I grew up playing when I was 12. I played games like Quake. I played Unreal Tournament. When I was older, I started playing Halo.
Unreal Tournament
So
is
like,
good.
yeah. So like every arena shooter, I've always loved. I've loved the arena shooters. I've loved like games like Mortal Kombat when you could like interact with the environment back in those old days. So level design is something I always appreciated, but in this game, in terms of its fighting thing, I thought it was super cool. The environmental kills are super awesome. It's an interesting idea and concept.
It's realistic, like, in the sense that, like, if you
Why
were in
couldn't
that
you-
scenario, you would do that, right?
Yeah,
like,
why couldn't you shove someone
life or
off?
death thing, you're gonna throw them off a bloody cliff.
That being said, when I am playing
Yes.
a duel, like a 1v1, I don't understand why. Like, I don't know if they've changed it much now. I can probably guess that they haven't.
I don't think so.
There's a lot of environments they play in which are shitty. Like they're not conducive to actually playing a fighting game. It's who can hit square the first and get their guard break canceled to fuck up. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you do that, you have lost. And that is not a fun game to play. So me as the Lawbringer, it rewards me literally just dashing and shoving because it's an unblockable it's an unblockable attack and it's uninterruptible. So I just dash, shove, and they're off the edge, and I'm like, well, that was fun. And it rewards me for being shitty. It rewards the other player for being shitty as well if they got their guard off first or whatever. It's just it creates an inconsistent sort of gameplay language that you're trying to give to your players.
For the most part, I find most of the levels are, like, well designed, where, like, places where you can throw people off, stuff like that, are pretty spread out and sporadic, and it's not crazy.
I disagree. Because of how much you move in this game, because of how much your position changes, you often find yourself fighting, like, in the middle of a fucking bridge with nothing, and then all of a sudden 2 seconds later, because of the tactical decision you had to make, you're now forced next to a ledge. Which is like, it's cool. I don't mind there being some obvious places where you can throw someone off, but my problem with it is the amount, with the consistency in which it happens.
Yeah, I think, like, in a lot of the places, like, there'll be a bridge, or there'll be, like, an area with, like, a cliff with, like, barricades up, and they'll, like, purposely put gaps in the barricades where, like, the barricade clearly is just broken. But it's like, why? Like, if they didn't do that and just had the other spaces where, like there's like a moat at one part, right? And it's like, oh, that makes sense. Like, it's a moat. Like, you would throw them in a moat. But, like, they open up those places so you have somewhere to throw people off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like it'd be a little better. Like, this is actually the same map as something else I was going to mention. But what's the map with the point C that has all the holes around it?
It's the
It's one of
it's
the
a
samurai
Viking
one.
Is it a samurai?
I'm pretty sure it's a samurai one. I'm pretty sure it's like
it's a
set of
castle,
temple.
but no, it's a you're right.
Yeah, and then, like, B is, like,
It's
down
inside
under
the
the
mine.
bridge, and A is, like, up on top of the bridge. Like,
And
on
then
the side.
C, it's got those pits that open up.
Yeah.
On
So-
both
yeah,
sides.
Yeah, so for one, like, the point C, that play, like, whoever designed that is just kind of like, yeah, this is going to be a gong show, everyone's going to throw it, because there's the points here, and there's, like, 2 holes here, and then another, like, 2 holes at the end,
Yeah.
and, like, 2, and, like, 4 other holes.
And then a bunch of spikes down in the bottom.
Yeah, and it's just like, why did you do that? But then on top of that, when you go up to the twin bridges to like head over to A, those bridges are full of those broken rails I was just talking about. So that map is just like a gong show of just like asshole players. Like the amount of times where like we're fighting somebody in point C, and then, it's like a 2-on-1 or a 1-on-1, and then like the second or third person comes in and is like, hey, just like throws you, and you're like, dude, you already outnumbered me, and like you felt the need to throw
that's
me
my
off.
least favorite thing. Is like I've gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what, if it's a Dominion or a skirmish or whatever, and like the objective is like it's a free for all, it's just a battle, kill him, go for it. There's no honor. We're just here to win the game.
Like,
whatever, fine. I agree with you that like having it in duels, like just turn them off in duels. Just make it about the skill and the fight,
because that's what you want, right?
because that's what the mechanics are. That's what it's a fighting game. You want to do
Final
that.
Destination, no items.
Exactly. It's
That's what I want.
It's that.
But it never happens.
But when you get that scenario where like they already outnumber you, and then the guy comes and pushes you off, it's like, really? Like, really? Do we have to do this, guys? That's a low blow. That's not very fun.
Right? Yeah, it's just it gets to a point where it's not fun. And you get a lot of players like that just literally they're like, okay, I'm gonna throw you. Okay, I got you with that throw, I'm gonna throw you again. Okay, I got you with that throw, I'm gonna throw you again. And it's so you as a player, let's say this is your 4th day playing this game and you haven't mastered the guard break cancel. This is every duel for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, did you want to play this game? Go fuck yourself. Because you don't get to have fun in this thing. And it's fucking annoying.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
I thought you were done.
No, continue.
I was just gonna say the one thing I do like about level design, in terms of the objectives, I think it's really cool that the sort of capture the zone mode has a zone that's like a battlefront.
I do love that.
It's so cool.
The fact that you own it by having your scrub soldiers push that line, I think is so cool.
And you show up and you get rid of the enemy scrubs.
I love playing vanguards, and I just just run in and cut down the guys, and you're like the like medieval super soldier.
Yeah.
And you just come in and you like own that battle line. I think that's so cool, and it adds like this almost like pseudo RTS element where like you're playing as the champions of an RTS game while all the soldiers are around. I think it's really cool.
Feels very Kingdom of Fire. And I love that. And I wish it played into the game more than just like, hey, it's point cap. It's like capturing territory like toward their spawn did something.
Like,
right?
I'd love if like we eventually got like a hybrid game where like one person was playing an RTS and they were moving the soldiers around.
Yeah.
And then other people were playing the champ, like, right?
That would be insane.
That'd be so much fun.
That'd be very, very cool.
It would be cool. And I would defo be down for that.
Yeah.
I think that's us talking about For Honor.
Let's just quickly go through because we ragged on this game a lot. Like, we said a lot of shitty things. And as much as this game does frustrate me and I wish that it was better, I did really enjoy it. I still really enjoy it.
It has such a unique gameplay that like you can't like you get in those moves, you're like, I want to go fight with a sword.
You're like, I want to play For Honor. There's nothing else.
I want to beat the crap out of somebody and feel like I'm beating the crap out of someone, and so you go do it.
Yeah. It does that well. Its level direction is great. Its champion direction is super cool. I love the versatility of all the champions.
They're all super unique.
The choices, cool. Like the different designs they chose, and the new ones we're getting are very cool.
Yeah, I wish they weren't 1500 steel.
But c'est la vie.
But like, fuck you.
Whatever,
Ubisoft.
I guess. Yeah.
Just make them $7 grand. Just make them as much as an emote. I don't understand why they're like a mythic outfit. Then why?
They want your money, man. That's why.
I know, but go fuck you. I don't.
But it's like you got so much of my money.
You got so much of my money. You have so much.
We all own a copy. Yeah, we do.
We all own a copy of this game, just so
and
we
I
can
have the gold
together.
edition, which is $1 billion.
Anyway.
1 billion.
It's great.
1 billion steel.
So I really like that. I really love the faction war. I think the faction war is great, even though the knights always lose.
Yep.
Weepoos.
Knights for life.
Knights for life.
Sorry, what, Kelly?
Knights for life.
Yeah, even though we forced all our friends to be knights, even though they were like, I should have been Vikings at one.
I'm being a knight forever.
Well, a certain someone didn't pick knights.
Huh? Yeah, except for Jack. Fuck him.
Yeah. Fuck you, Jack.
Regardless, it was a good game. It is a good game.
That's why he's not part of this discussion video.
It's because he's not Night Bro. Brian, get out of here. We're GeekGarden.
We have
All
been
right.
Geek Garden.
We are Gardens of Geeks.
We're gardeners.
Yeah, you can check us out on Patreon if you want to see more of this. We're tooling up. We're getting ready. Things are happening now.
I hope you guys like the new quality.
Yeah.
We got some new gear.
Got a new
We're really
camera.
stoked
Got
about
some
it.
microphones. Things are happening. We're doing this.
Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter if you want to know anything going on for that. Yeah.
Twitter, Facebook,
Instagram.
We'll post it all down in the links.
The handles, handles
Yeah.
always GeekGarden.
Down in the description below.
Farewell.
Bye!
Thanks, you green thumbs.
Oh, that would have been a good one.
Well, we didn't stop recording.
Yeah, I'm going to stop it right when I say